Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video we're going to learn how to work with data which we find on the internet. So in order to do this we are going to have to use URLs, and in order to do that we're going to need URL lib, so we type in import URL lib. We're going to grab another copy of the Palmer Penguins data set, which conveniently my colleague Phil Chodrow has on his website. So, and I'm not going to make you type this, so I've pre-typed the URL right there. So now this URL address is stored as the variable URL. And now we're going to go ahead and actually read in the data. This is not something I have memorized, but I am going to force you to type this exactly once while I very blatantly look at my notes. Not even going to try to hide it. For what it's worth, I do always have my notes in front of me while I'm reading this, and I have them staring at the other screen, and I normally try to look over like this, and I make kind of weird eyes. Here, I'm just going to very blatantly turn my head and not even pretend to hide the fact that I'm looking at my notes. So what you do is you type in file data equals URL lib dot request dot URL open URL. And then you say to write is equal to file data dot read. And then you say with open. And now this is going to be the same as last time. We're going to create a new file, and I'm going to call this, well, this is going to be a file that we're getting from the internet. So we're going to call this interweb penguins.csv. What are we going to do with our interweb penguins? We're going to write them as f, and now we do f.write to write. So that is what went wrong. What went wrong there is a very important thing, which is very easy to forget. When you're scraping data from the interweb, you need to use the somewhat unusual flag WB, not W. If you do W, that happens. Now we use WB, which indicates that we are working with a binary file. But if we do all of that, we now get it to work, and you can even go ahead and check that there is a file in our folder now called interweb penguins. It's the same penguins as before, but they're from the interweb. They're probably all sorts of tech savvy. Alrighty. So that's how you can download a file from the internet. Sometimes we just want to directly work with some data from the internet without necessarily downloading it and like storing it in a separate file. So if we want to do this, what we do is we say from URL lib.request import URL open. This is going to let us open a URL. Now this is the URL of my old website from back when I was in graduate school. And now we're going to read in the HTML code. And so we do page is equal to URL open of URL. And then we do HTML bits equals page.read. Alrighty, so let's take a look at what we get. Alright, so I can't read this. I see a bunch of /T's. I do see the word lecturer. I see the word graduate student somewhere in there, but this kind of looks like a bunch of nonsense. So in order to be able to read this a little bit better, well, maybe let's look a little bit further down. So let's look at between 10,000 characters and 10,500 characters. Okay, this looks a little bit less bad, but we can even further pre-process it further by typing HTML is equal to HTML bits dot decode UTF-8. And this is going to format the data a little bit differently. And let's now print HTML. And again, let's look at characters between 10,000 and 10,500. Oops, I forgot the equal sign. All right. So now this is the HTML code that I used to write my website back when I was in graduate school. What you'll notice is that I did not use my current website. And if you go to my website and try to use it in this notebook, it does not work well. And this is because back in the day, I wrote my website in HTML proper. And so we get beautiful HTML code. And what you can actually see is that I stole the HTML code from Reggie McGee, and I changed most of the information, except I forgot one right there on the course ID page. Hi, Reggie. All right. In any case, this looks much prettier, and this is how you can get data from there. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll through my website and just isolate all of the hyperlinks. And the tool we do for doing this is that we use what's called regular expressions. And so we haven't yet covered regular expressions. We're going to cover these later in the course. But since we haven't covered them yet, you have my permission to stop typing for these last two cells. So we import RE. RE stands for regular expression. And then we set URLs is equal to regular expression.findAll. And the start of a hyperlink begins with href. And then we have some other regular expression magic going on here, which you'll learn about more later. And then we're going to search through HTML, and then let's print out what we get. And we see we do get a bunch of links. Some of these links are kind of funny looking though. So what we can do is we can subsample the set of lists for it's a line in the URLs that has the word HTTP : in it. And now we get all of the links from my website from back when I was in graduate school. And that's it. Here's a link to the math department main website. Here's my website. Here's my advisor's website. Here was a link to Tufts where I went for undergraduate. All very, very exciting stuff. Regular expressions are cool, and we're going to learn more about them later. But that's it for this time, so I will see you again next time.